Meet Ed and Eddie, three college friends who decided to start their own business. They worked hard on their product to make it successful, but they soon realized that running a business is not all that easy. They needed some help. So one day, Eddie decided to approach goaGoombah Ventures to solve their problems. So all they needed to do was to drop in their email address, and they were contacted within 24 hours by goaGoombah Ventures, who discussed their problems and found a personal solution for them. We at goaGoombah Ventures provide them with non-core essential services like legal, sales, and market analysis. With our extensive network spread all across India, we are able to provide you with these services at your doorstep and also at much cheaper rates. With our little help, Ed and Eddie were able to kickstart their own business, and they went on to create a successful business venture of their own. So if you're interested in starting a business, then why don't you come and join us at goaGoombah and help us help you succeed.
Let's take a brief look at our product development. We have 34 students registered all across India in the top colleges for marketing and market analysis. We are covering almost all major startup hubs in India. For legal consultancy, we have 6 registered partners, and most of these students have qualified their CS examination. For financial consultancy, we are looking at 5 different students who have either preparing or have qualified for the 3 levels of CA examination. For consumer survey, we are mainly targeting startups and college students across all major cities and educational institutes in India. The next phase, we are targeting housewives and small businesses. What is the services that the startups require most? The responses varied on the different types of startups we questioned. For the tech-based startups, the main problems are marketing, designers, and market testing. Whereas for software-based startups, it is legal consultancy and financial consultancy. For web-based startups, it is content writers and other related services. Then we asked the startups what sort of work would they like to outsource and what sort of work would they like to oversee themselves. The 72% of the team wanted to control the processes, whereas 28% wanted to outsource it. Within those services, the limit of outsourcing also depended on the type of service they were opting for. People wanted designing, web development, and market analysis to be a part of the team, whereas they desired only limited control over marketing and financial management, whereas they were not worried about outsourcing legal consultancy completely. The next question we asked was, who would you like to have maximum control over selecting the particular individual who avails of your service? goaGoombah Ventures has a better idea about individual providing the service, and they need to keep the interests of the service providers in mind, whereas the startups have a better idea about the requirements. So we're trying to get some consulting experts who might advise us. Next, we asked the startups how much would they be ready to pay and what mode of payment would they prefer for services rendered. Around 40% of the startups preferred a method of brokerage for payment, whereas another 40% preferred the on-delivery billing, whereas 20% would be ready to shell out registration charges before opting for our services. Geographical proximity was a very important issue for most of these startups, and hence we realized that our services would have to be available in all major cities all across India. After resolving our MVP, we faced the following problems. First, we have no concrete method to evaluate the performance of an individual or a product. Secondly, the feedback from startups alone is not sufficient, and a purely output-based evaluation is not satisfactory. So, we came up with 4 problem statements on which we intend to work on. First, how do we assign and optimize timelines between startups and service providers? Secondly, how do we manage contingency situations? Thirdly, how do we verify data such as work experience and time availability? And lastly, how do we ensure proper remuneration?